Well, for more, we can speak to former head of the French Air Force, retired General JeanPaul Palomeros, also former Supreme Commander at NATO Allied Forces. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
My pleasure.
We heard in that report the Pentagon spokesperson weigh his words carefully. When he's talking about planes and spare parts, what has been shipped to Ukraine?
Well, nothing has been confirmed, but this is true that we were expecting something to happen, since there was this kind of show, if I may say so, with the Poland and trying to switch that to the US and in Rammstein and back and forth publicly. It doesn't work like that. If you want to do something like that, you do that covertly, and then afterwards you can eventually, if you think it's fine, express that. I don't know why the Pentagon has publicly announced that. Is it part of the battle for information? I don't know, or to boost morale in Ukraine? That's now what we don't know is how many airplanes. We know the countries from which they can come. Bulgaria was quoted, could be Poland as well, but we don't know actually. But obviously it was done very quietly and very covertly, as it should be. And perhaps as important is the question of spare parts. Sometimes, one aircraft is not available because it needs a specific spare part, and then you cannot operate it. So it's absolutely crucial to get the full lot of spare parts. So it's perhaps as important as the aircraft, because you cannot fly the aircraft if you have not the proper number of spare parts available.
The Pentagon was very specific last week when they talked about 11 military helicopters. And I guess what's surprising in all of this is we're coming up to 2 months since the start of the war. Is this all saying that Russia doesn't control the airspace over Ukraine?
Well, there could be some discussion. I mean, there is a difference between getting the overall supremacy where you can fix everything, you are master of the sky in a certain way, and being able to control part of it. And we know that the Russians are very much concentrated their force in Donbass, including the Air Force. That doesn't mean that they cannot launch from distance strikes against Lviv, against ammunition depot, against weapons delivery. I don't know, all the strategic assets, and they have done that. But usually they do that at distance, which means that they don't need to be there in the sky, and they are threatened by the Ukrainian air defense, ground-to-air defense. So perhaps there is a room for Ukrainian aircraft to maneuver there, but they must be very careful because the Russian will spot that and they will attack immediately or in a very short range the aircraft from where they fly. So this is the battle between the attackants and the defenders. So we will see in the next few hours or days if the Russian launch strikes against some airport where those aircraft could be based.
So what you're saying, General Palomeros, is Russia doesn't have full supremacy of the skies, but they certainly have air superiority. And as a result, just to elaborate on what you were just saying, how can Ukrainians use their helicopters, use their planes?
Well, helicopters, if they fly low, what we call tactical flight, they could be difficult to spot depending on your radar, on the capabilities of your aircraft, but fighter. As far as the airplane, that's different. They should be spotted, and I'm sure that the Russians have some radars. I don't know if they are able to look into Ukraine today. That's a great question. But obviously, who is controlling the sky is still a question. Controlling in terms of air control. from the ground or from the air with AWACS or of kind of AWACS. And Russians have this kind of aircraft able to control as well at distance. So I cannot imagine that they don't try to get a good view, a good perspective on what is happening, what is flying in the sky. That is not as easy as that. You need a full system, workable. I'm not sure that it is the case. So that gives an opportunity, that opens a window of opportunity for Ukrainian to use it.
And one final question, as this battle of Donbass gets underway, there are those on the Ukrainian side fearing that the Russians haven't really thrown their best elements and their best hardware at them yet. What's it looking like, particularly because we're coming off the wake of the sinking of that ship last week?
Well, I will not elaborate very much on that because I'm not sure. There are a lot of uncertainties, but I think the Russians have all the interest possible to reach, to try to get a success as soon as possible. I'm not speaking about the 9th of May. It could be a deadline in a certain way, but nevertheless, now they need a success. So they will throw everything they have to reach the success, I think.
General JeanPaul Palomeros, many thanks for speaking with us live here on France 24.